Welcome back everybody to another pomade review, and today I'll be taking a look at another lab-made oil-based pomade, and I decided to review a heavy and do more heavies now because the summer's rolling in, and our pomade for today is Schmiere Knuppelhart, and to be exact, this is the Sun Records Man in Black edition, which obviously is a tribute to Johnny Cash. Now, there is no difference between this one and the original Schmiere Knuppelhart oil-based pomade except for the color, scent, and packaging. Now, the design on the 140 milliliter jar, which is approximately a little over 4 ounces, it's very rockabilly and pleasing to the eye if you're into that aesthetic. And there is a reference to one of Johnny Cash's most famous songs, Folsom Prison Blues, on the side of the tin. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. The ingredients and the directions in German are printed at the back over here. And opening it up, you would find a very waxy looking pomade with a very red tint. And right at the bat, you can tell that this stuff is super duper hard and waxy. Knuppelhart literally means rock hard. So it's the extra heavy hold oil-based pomade. However, despite being really hard, scooping it out isn't too bad actually. I mean, of course, you do need a bit of pressure to scoop it out, but it's not as bad as I expected it to be. And the scent on it is quite floral actually. Just very, very slightly fruity, but it's mostly sort of a floral scent that I can't really describe. Now we'll start out with just one finger scoop. And I have a day of buildup in my hair right now on damp hair. We'll just apply this over here. Now, as long as you don't apply too much, the application isn't actually too bad, especially in damp hair. I didn't experience any tug and pull with this whatsoever, which is quite unusual for something even advertised as a super heavy or an extra heavy. So applying it to the hair actually doesn't really feel so much like an actual pomade that's supposed to be advertised as super heavy, which is a really good thing, of course. And on darker hair, you wouldn't find that this would stain your hair red. I can't speak for lighter haired folks, but my barber, who was gray hair, he said that it actually did leave a slightly red tint to his hair. And speaking of my barber, I actually borrowed this from him because we now have this pomade exchange program where we would swap pomades with each other because he has all kinds of these lab-made pomades from classic companies like Dax, as well as the more modern ones like Schmiere, Ruzel, and Suavecito. And he doesn't really know so much about homebrews. Meanwhile, my collection has a lot of American homebrews, and so I decided to let him in on the fun of homebrews. And I haven't been using too many lab-made pomades either, so we decided to do a pomade exchange program where I would let him borrow my pomades and he would let me his pomades to review, and we would just borrow it for about a week, and that's just really nice of him. So I have the pomade in my hair right now. You can tell right off the bat that it just looks really, everything looks really tight. And as you can see, there is some resistance as I slick my hair back and using the white tooth end of the comb. And I recommend you do this whenever you apply a heavy hold pomade. But despite having some resistance, it is still rather smooth, especially for something that's supposed to be super heavy. You would find that there is a slightly waxy, because of the wax content in there, you would find, I don't know what you can see under this lighting, but you would find a bit of paleness to your hair that leaves it a little white. So I always like to add a topper to this to just give more of that wet shine instead of just this straight up waxy looking shine to it. And speaking of shine, I wouldn't say it actually really gives much of a shine. It's more of a semi-matte finish. It's just a really dry looking one. So for those of you who don't really like super wet looking pomades, the finish in this one, it has a little bit of that slightly satin and white waxy kind of shine to it, but it also is semi-matte. So it's hardly any shine at all. Combing it back, I mean the control, of course, you would get plenty of control for it. But at the same time, it feels rather smooth even for a super heavy. I also can get, obviously, more height with this one compared to some other pomades, this being on the much heavier side. And the slickness in this one, I would say slickness is not so much of a given. It just has being more of a waxy type of pomade and has more of the clumpiness in it. Now, but the wax content it has would provide you with a really tight looking style. Not so much of like really of that stuck together slickness, but more of a good what was I saying earlier? Yeah, good tightness from all the wax. And you see if you don't actually I don't know if you can see it over here, but there's some slight red streaks over here. That's what happens if you put a little too much and don't really distribute it back. So you need to really distribute the product evenly. But I had pretty much a perfect pomp right before I destroyed it because of those little red dots over there. So with the amount of control, you can tell that styling is actually sort of a pleasure as well. And now the hold on it, it's actually not so much. I mean, obviously it's a good, it has plenty of hold, and it's just slightly more than what I would call a true heavy, but it's not really so much of a super heavy in my opinion. It's just slightly like a notch above a true heavy. So it does hold a little more than an average heavy pomade, but not so much that I would expect for something being called a super heavy. But of course, this will definitely hold up very well even in the summer. Just forming the DA right now. And the buildup on this one is also obviously not the cleanest. It's a very chunky and waxy buildup, but the washability on it, for something that is waxy and heavy, it does go out quite well, even if you don't use too much. With just after one use, it would probably take about 3 washes to get out. So everything's looking really tight right now. And this is what the pomade looks like in my hair. My hair is just slightly damp, which is why there's a little more shine than it should have. The height is looking quite great over here. The shape of the pomp is quite sturdy and forward. And another great thing about the what my pomp looks like with this one, with some of the heavier pomades, I have like really heavy pomades, I would have trouble sculpting the shape of the pomade so it doesn't look as round as I want it to, and it tends to give more of a blocky, flat shape. But this one still allows me to form a good and round pomp. So, Schmiere Knuppelhart is not really what I would expect from a super heavy pomade. It might disappoint for some of you who are really expecting so much hold, given my first impressions, especially when it just is super hard. But once you actually do scoop it out and style with it, it has It's pretty superior in a way that it doesn't feel as waxy or difficult to control as much as a lot of the other pomades I've used that are advertised as super heavy. And it still also has a good washability and provides you with a decent palm shape even for something that's advertised super heavy. The only thing I find underwhelming in this one is that it is a little underwhelming in its hold compared to my expectations. But overall, this would not disappoint. So that is it for my review today. And if you enjoyed this review, please leave a like, comment, subscribe to my channel, click on the bell icon so you never miss a single upload of The Squinty Show. I'll see you next time on The Squinty Show.